So at last week's Nintendo Direct, they announced some really amazing looking amiibo, but then we were kind of shocked by how expensive they are. So how did we get from Mr. Mario that was $12.99?
The original amiibo.
The original amiibo.
Let me do it for you again.
Let me do it.
I'll be doing this for the rest of my life.
A moment of silence. Pour one out for you doing this for the rest of your life. But how did we get from a $12.99 amiibo to a $50
wow.
amiibo,
Yeah.
which is the price of the Kirby Air Riders swappable amiibo? It's wild.
It's kind of shocking because we've come a long way. Amiibo have been around for over 10 years now.
Yeah.
And going into this Switch 2 generation, I think we were wondering, like, well, what is the role of Amiibo going to be? Are they even going to be caring about Amiibo?
Yes.
And it seemed like a little bit of a trickle going into it. And then bam, we have this Nintendo Direct where Amiibo are playing such a big role in the presentation. And yeah, they look really cool. They look really nice. I'm intrigued by some of these, but then you do get the sticker shock when you look at the price tags. It's like, oh wait, this is like half the price of a game or almost the same price as a game, and it's like, what's going on here and how did this happen?
Or more expensive than some games,
yeah.
which is a crazy thing to think about. And you know, you and I were at Nintendo. We actually worked on the original launch for Amiibo. And the original strategy, the original intent of these, oh my gosh, it's so different from where these Amiibo started to where they are now and what purpose it is fulfilling for Nintendo, that we really wanted to talk about. That's a really interesting history,
it's
true. Like, how did we get here? And is that okay? I mean, it feels pretty expensive.
Yeah, and then there's the consumer, there's the fan reactions that we're talking about and that we're now part of. But if you are Nintendo and you're talking about like what is the business purpose for this product line? What is this helping us to achieve? Why does this exist?
Yeah.
It's a very different situation now than it was 11 years ago when the first Amiibo came out. And we should say, we have a big video that we did last year on the 10-year anniversary, the untold story of Amiibo. If you're curious about the origins of, some of the behind the scenes stories that we have working on that, you should check that out.
Right.
But yeah, let's go back to 2014, where it all began, and let's talk a little bit about why did Nintendo make these in the first place. They had kind of three big reasons of why they started Amiibo at all. First of all, was this was happening during the very hard times of the Wii U and the slightly less hard times of the 3DS. Frankly,
a bit of a down time for Nintendo.
Frankly, the company needed another source of revenue because the console business was not as strong as it used to be. They were just getting going, and some of these new entertainment-oriented things that are now such a big part of the company. It was like, look, we just need something to get us through these lean years.
We'll try anything.
Right.
It's one of those things.
Right.
Like,
so
just figure out another revenue stream.
Exactly. So in that sense, that's something that Amiibo can help us to accomplish. Mentioned, where they are in entertainment now, the strategy that was just getting started and continues on now, IP expansion.
Yeah, this was really the first part of that. And you think to where Nintendo is now with theme parks and movies and another movie coming in a few short months, and just the juggernaut they are in terms of things outside of gaming where people have access and are able to form relationships with Nintendo IP, Nintendo characters. That was not it 10 years ago. And this was when Mr. Iwata first started talking about, we are not a video game company. We are an entertainment company. So the Amiibo strategy was really rooted in that, where it's well, where else can we show up? People are not really buying Wii U's. People are not really buying Wii U games. Where else can we show up where people can still remember, oh yes, Nintendo. Oh yes, I remember Mario. I love Mario. I can still buy an Amiibo or see an Amiibo somewhere else. So that's kind of the landscape of the time of 2014 when this all started.
Right. It wasn't just take it, put it on a shelf in your house, and have your friends and family see it and comment on it. That was one thing, but also at
stores,
at retail, which again Nintendo has always taken a lot more seriously than its competitors of just that visual of the wall of characters was something that Nintendo was very interested of, just like people browsing stores. They're going to see that. They're going to be reminded of Nintendo, the good feelings that they have had, their favorite character. That was something that they really wanted to have.
Yeah, a physical representation of their love for the Nintendo brand. Yeah.
So that's the first two things. The third thing that they wanted to accomplish was, what is the new game innovation that we can have by having this real world object that can interact with the game, that you can take with you, that represents different characters. The internal lead for Amiibo at Nintendo was Shinya Takahashi, who is the guy that you see
the head guy now
in Nintendo Direct. Now he's in charge of all software development, so he was thinking of what is the unique linkage between the physical object and the software that we can have that we never had before to open up some new avenues with games.
Yeah, and of course, some of the first Amiibo were from Smash Brothers.
Yes.
And Mr. Sakurai is a very huge proponent of the FP, the figure player.
He's a believer, yeah.
He's a believer, and he was a believer in 2014, and guess what? He's still a believer now. Because where you're getting...
We're still rocking FPs.
You were rocking an FP Kirby Air Riders.
Exactly.
So that was sort of the thing where, yes, we want this physical representation of Nintendo either at a store or in your house or in your hand, something to remind you of a Nintendo character, but always with Nintendo, they wanted to bring it back to the games themselves, create a bridge to the game. And at the time, we should say, it was also sort of a moment for these toys to life games.
Such a fun time.
You were a huge fan of this.
I still am. Skylanders.
You're like the biggest stan for Skylanders.
I still have a giant bag full of Skylanders. I'm waiting for them to make a big comeback. I know it's going to happen.
It's happening.
Yes.
You made me play Skylanders with you all the time.
Isn't it fun?
It is really fun.
It's really fun.
I agree that it's very fun. And in the moment, it was quite magical when you put it on the base and the thing was in the game.
Fun.
You're just oh wow, magic, And there was also Disney Infinity, which is also similar to Nintendo, where they had a huge amount of very recognizable characters that they wanted to put in your hand.
We had Lego Dimensions. But as you might guess, all of these things are now kaput. And Amiibo is kind of the last one standing.
It really is.
Which again, you kind of do need to keep evolving what you are doing in this business category to keep it relevant and worthwhile. But back then in 2014, in those early years, the idea was not all right, let's price this thing so high that only collectors can get it. No, the vision was this is supposed to be approachable for everybody. We're going to want longtime Nintendo fans, we're going to want kids to get this alongside a toy that they might be picking up.
Right.
It was a very for everyone product.
That's why it was $12.99 and not $50.
Right. It was an impulse buy.
Yeah, it's the thing that you picked up alongside a game. You picked up Smash Brothers. You're also going to pick up a couple Amiibo because it's so accessible.
Right.
The other thing too is, Nintendo themselves could not have called this. When we were at Nintendo launching Amiibo, again, the strategy was very much this is something that the kids will love. They'll get a game and maybe a few Amiibo. But even Nintendo internally, we really didn't see, and we maybe should have, see it coming where it just became this collector's item. From the start, from the jump.
Yeah.
And we're a little surprised. Oh, wow, people are not really buying these to use the in-game functionality as that accessory to bring something into the game. They're really buying these to display them on a shelf as a collector's item.
Right.
And
keep them in the package in some cases.
Yes, we're why aren't people taking them out of the package?
Yeah.
We were so a little bit surprised by the behavior. And then later on, of course, we were it totally makes sense for Nintendo fans to do this. And it became it kind of evolved from the fans to a completely different thing than what was the intended the intended nature of an Amiibo.
Right. So it's one thing to have the vision and the big picture plan of oh yes, this is what we're doing with these, this is what's going to happen. But then
the reaction,
once you actually get it out there, what people do with it can be really different. And frankly, some of this path of making it a collector's things are things that Nintendo did to itself.
Right.
Which is really interesting. So it very quickly, like you said, became this collector's item. Well, why did that happen? There was really no big gameplay innovation that happened with Amiibo.
No.
Sadly. Like, even to this day, like, there's very little connection. So, I think the Smash Brothers thing was very inventive. It was an interesting idea. Not a lot of people did that.
Yeah.
And it just became a way to unlock a couple little items here or there.
Yeah, it almost felt like a lot of times when a developer is asked, like, what is your plan to make in-game functionality with Amiibo? It was a very throwaway kind of ask.
Right.
It's like, whatever, we're not really thinking about this. Let's just have it unlock a chest with some items.
So
whatever.
even when I think of, the best games that I've played that use Amiibo, like, it's not a very, like, packed list. It's like,
I can't even think of one right now.
Oh,
I guess Smash.
Maybe I got some cool items or a costume or something through it, but there was never, like, on
I guess, the latest Donkey Kong game, Bonanza.
It just unlocked a costume.
We got a Pauline costume.
Right.
And I literally, we bought the Amiibo.
Right.
You bought the Amiibo. I was like, bring it in so I can scan it, and then I never need to look at it again.
Exactly. So that's one thing that Nintendo did that never made it pick off in their intended way. The other thing was just this persistent, the shortages.
Oh my gosh. That was really terrible
The
when we were
very,
there.
the limited stock. Because there were so many, and this was probably due to the connection to Smash Brothers that has so many characters, we just constantly needed to turn over what was on the shelf to make way for the next wave, which means you can never make that many. The worst thing you can have in retail is something that just sits on a shelf and takes up space.
And the problem is that, we talked about this a little bit with right before Switch 2 came out, is like, they don't care if they are selling out immediately and making it difficult for the consumer. In the eyes of the retailer that's carrying the product and in the eyes of Nintendo, they're like, great, did our job.
Yes.
You guys all bought it. We had,
these are hot.
100 of these in stock and we sold out in 5 minutes or sold out in 2 minutes.
Right.
We did our job.
Right.
So, but from a fan perspective, it was very frustrating because it's like, I can't get the one that I want. It's always sold out. And now it feels even more collector-y.
Right.
Now you've trained me.
Exactly.
To view these
I'm lining up. I'm waiting for the Amazon link to go live.
Yes, I'm punching out somebody at a Costco, whatever. Like, now you have trained me as a fan to think of these as not accessible accessories to help you unlock a cool in-game thing, but as a collector's item.
Exactly.
So again, Nintendo kind of did this to themselves.
Right. Right, and that's very much in the place where we are now. Where again, these are some of the original figures. They started at $13. Yes, the quality is a lot lower than what we have now. Like, we all remember the very memeable Marth face.
Marth face, the P-stick Link.
P-stained Link. I still like this one. I think this one's cool.
Let me see this one again?
The,
Let me look at
the
it
original
again.
Mario. I think that one's nice.
Actually, they tried.
They tried it. It's Mario.
I mean, it's Mario.
It's Mario.
Yeah,
You got to try it. So then, around 2017, the price jumped to about $16.
Yes.
That was like, okay, that's a little different, but it's still kind of roughly in the same ballpark.
Yeah, some of these more modern ones,
Right.
they do look more detailed. They're starting to look a little bit more collector-y.
There's some nice touches on those.
Yeah.
But now the standard price point starts at $30 and it goes all the way to $50, and it's like, oh gosh,
crazy.
this has really become something different. So
Yeah.
we talked about kind of these factors that happen, many of them, done by Nintendo to kind of push this product towards the collector direction, away from this mass audience who frankly cannot get their hands on it. Maybe they would be interested if they could ever find one.
Right.
I don't know. We'll never find out.
We'll never find out. Yeah.
We'll never find out. But there have recently been these other factors, some of them within Nintendo's control, some of them not, that have forced the price up. And again, just pushed it even more and more towards the collector. Tariffs. Gosh, how many times have we talked about tariffs this year? I'm tired of talking about
Let's
it.
not talk about it for too long. But that was a point of price raising was due to tariffs. They said that themselves.
Yeah, we know Nintendo has not raised the price of the Switch 2. So what does that mean? The stuff around the Switch 2 needs to go up in price. So we've seen controllers, other accessories. Amiibo are the things that are getting the price hike to offset. The most important thing was the Switch 2. We mustn't touch that.
No, the hardware is already pretty expensive. It's already a hurdle for people to get a $500 system.
Right.
So Nintendo's going to be reluctant to do that, but they're not going to get the money from nowhere.
Right.
It's got to be the same. You're going to have to find that balance somewhere else. And so the accessories and Amiibo prices have obviously gone up.
Another factor, Nintendo is now finally in this 4K generation. Games take a lot more time. They cost a lot more money to make.
Teams have gotten bigger and bigger for development.
So they're frankly looking for ways to how do we supplement the money that we're getting from selling a game to
Yeah.
make sure that we are making money off of this thing and not taking a bath on some of these games. So
Right.
this is frankly how you do it. You have a game that you sell for now $70
Sometimes 80.
or more, and it's like, and we're going to have these amiibo that are going to bring in additional money
Yeah.
that we're going to put towards that project to make it happen.
In that sense, it's the same strategy as 2014, where they're looking for what are the other
Yeah.
revenue streams.
Right.
They had a different situation that they were dealing with, but it was all based on money,
Right.
obviously.
And there's a lot of ways that you can accomplish this. If it's just like, we need more money, there's a lot of ways that you can do that.
Oh, yeah.
You know, you can go the Mario Kart World path and just say, we're having a
We're
higher...
just going to price it
We're
high.
going to have a higher base price. Don't ask why. You can do collector's edition like they've done with Xenoblade games,
Fire Emblem
games
games,
over
yep.
the year. It's like, okay, this is a premium package that's going to have some extra stuff. You're going to be paying more for that, and we're going to put that towards recouping the cost of the game. You can have DLC like we just saw in Donkey Kong Bonanza. Donkey Kong Bonanza also
had
had
an amiibo and DLC.
I paid $120 for
paid
Donkey Kong
100
Bonanza.
You quite literally
Oh my
paid
gosh.
$120. So that is how they've recouped the cost from one person.
Right,
So,
exactly. So again, we're talking about these shifting priorities of, oh, we have, these big grand ideas of, how can we enhance gameplay? How can we get our IP into more places, into a bit more of a financially driven thing of
Exactly.
we need some money.
We just need some money.
We need some
and
money.
We'll make it however we can.
What are we going to do? And that's kind of putting us towards this place where we see a lot of I call them novelty amiibo. It's not like we didn't have them. We had the
little yarn
adorable
Yoshi.
yarn
we also
Yoshi.
have the big version of this,
We
right?
did the Mega
yeah,
Yarn
the Mega
Yoshi.
Yarn.
We have the large format Detective Pikachu.
This was so cute.
We had to double check. This was $30 when it
Yes.
first came out.
It was,
If it
yeah.
came out today, it would be more.
It'd probably be $50.
Right. So we have they announced all of the amiibo that were announced in this direct have some interesting little
quirk
wrinkle
to
to
it.
them
Yeah.
that's not always traditional. So the Mario Galaxy amiibo, they're
Those
big.
are big. Those are probably going to be this size.
In
We don't
terms of the
know.
comparison that they gave us,
seems like
it
it.
seems to be around this. Why does it need to be so big? It just is.
Well, I think the reason why is because it's tied to the anniversary.
And the
They wanted to
movie.
make it special. They wanted to make it feel, again, more collectory.
I don't know. I mean, I would still be happy to. I would not look down on an amiibo of this
Of
size.
the normal size.
Right.
Yeah, but I'm sure they're like, yes, we make it big and then we can charge a little bit more.
It's
And
special, which means it costs more.
We know the people will buy it.
Right.
We know the people are fans and they will buy it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The Metroid Prime 4 amiibo, there's 3 of those. 2 of those are pretty
Are
standard.
normal. They kind of look the same as
Right.
these.
But then we also have the Samus and the Viola bike.
And that
which
one's more
is,
expensive, right?
That's a very big...
long.
Right.
Long.
Right,
Yeah.
it is. And then kind of the cherry on top are these Kirby
premium.
Air Riders amiibo, which have this sort of interchangeable element to them where you can take the Waddle Dee, you can take the Kirby off and swap them
the cards,
onto the
yeah.
different vehicles. It's neat, but is it something that a lot of people really want to do? I mean, how many people, first of all, want to use the FPs? I think we saw from Smash, it's a pretty
limited group.
tight group, and then we're talking about putting it into a more niche game, asking people to do another action with this thing. I don't know. I just don't know what the market for that
Or are they
is.
just going to buy and leave it in the box and display it? Because
Right.
it's, again, a very premium
Yeah,
collector's
yeah.
item. And not only does the Kirby Air Riders one have the interesting swappable bases, but it's also really big. So
Right.
you get like a twofer in terms of maybe collectability. I don't know. Maybe it's just interesting and unique, and people want to have that.
Right.
You know.
With that game, also, there's the Sakurai factor, where it's like, hey, I want to do this, and they're like, well,
He's like, too bad.
if this was some other developer, we might say, hold your horses. That's going to be financially challenging, but it's like, well, you're Sakurai, we kind of have to say yes.
True.
Yeah,
He gets what he wants.
We don't have a choice.
Yes,
So
that's true.
so let's talk about what happens now. Let's go zoom all the way to the present. Do you think people are still going to buy these? There's a lot of outrage. A lot of people, it's just like, oh my gosh, how am I supposed to afford these? What am I supposed to do? Lamenting the price hikes.
Sure.
In the end, though, what is going to happen when these things actually go on sale?
I do think that the Nintendo-specific amiibo at this higher price point, like the Mario ones, the the Metroid ones, even the Kirby ones, I do think people will buy them because there is still a pretty passionate fan base of amiibo collectors that will just buy this stuff because they want to have this. They want to collect this piece of gaming history or a moment in time for video games. They just want it. So I do think people are going to buy it. I've seen so many funny comments that they're like, I am so mad that this is $50. I've already pre-ordered it. That is the sentiment, though. It's this dichotomy of how dare they charge me $50, but I already pre-ordered it. I can't help myself.
Right. They have gotten pretty good at estimating the quantity.
They have.
Yes.
They
understand.
They learned some lessons there.
They understand that this is more of a luxury item, so they're not going to be making as many of those as they are printing games or whatever. They know, all right, this is going to be a pretty small run. We can get it out there. It can be in and out. It can sell out. We can make the money that we need to make, and
then just not think about it
anymore. And again, we are not going to be stuck with this inventory that's left over, because we have seen on some of those amiibo that came out in June with the Switch 2 launch, those Street Fighter amiibo, those got discounted. Even the latest wave of Zelda amiibo got discounted. And some of those they're not the most recognizable Zelda characters. But it's Zelda still. It's Zelda.
It's Zelda.
Right.
And they learned the very, very hard lesson with the Amiibo Festival.
The Animal Crossing
amiibo, which just sat and sat and sat.
Right.
So they know in terms of quantities, what they can
less
get away
less
with.
is better for something like this.
And again, bad for the fans, because if you wanted to get one, you probably
because then it's okay.
Do you need to jump on it?
Strictly collectors are going to be able to pick this up. Yes. So it is. We mentioned Toys to Life before, and I think that's an interesting thing to see. All right, are there any parallels? Between what Nintendo is doing now and what any of these other companies or games franchises did back in those mid-2010s. And it's interesting to see Skylanders actually did do a lot of the things already that Nintendo is doing right now. But in addition to the different formats of the figures, they really did go deeper on the gameplay hooks.
That was the part about Skylanders that was very magical.
That was fun. That was cool.
It was really fun.
You say, yes, this was an Activision franchise. Yes, they did milk it. Yes, they did burn it out really fast, which broke my heart. But they did put a lot of effort into every time. What's something new that we can do on the interplay between the figures and the game? So they did have large scale. They did a whole game, Skylanders Giants. They did that. They did vehicles, and remember, Bowser and Donkey Kong were in that game.
We have those amiibo. It's a swappable. It's the same thing as the Kirby Air Riders ones.
I was wow, how haven't they not done that with Mario Kart yet? Don't tell them.
Don't tell them. They're going to make money.
Do not tell them. They did swappable characters where you could mix and match.
The bottoms and tops, they would be in game. Remember
that?
They
did all of that stuff, and that was all reflected in the game.
It's pretty cool.
The game that was built to take the most out of the hook through the Toys to Life. So that was interesting. And again, compare that to Nintendo, where it's a
throwaway mechanic.
The Mario Galaxy amiibo, that's going to unlock a new get you a mushroom. Okay, fine.
Yeah.
Here's a question. What do these new Metroid Prime 4 amiibo do?
I want to know.
They haven't said.
They haven't said.
But don't let that stop you from pre-ordering them. You can do that today.
You
can do that today.
I'm sure you already did.
That's a little fishy.
Fishy.
That's a little fishy.
What if it's you can't get the bike unless you get the amiibo? That would be hilarious. No, that's not going to happen. No. Obviously not.
No.
But they haven't said what is the the function of. We know what the Kirby amiibo do. We know that they're the FP. Typical of Mr. Sakurai's. What he wants to do with amiibo, but we don't know what the
it'll refill your energy tank.
It's something lame.
It'll give you some missiles.
It's going to be a new colorway of one of your
because
suits.
we've had Metroid games that use amiibo, and I can't say I've ever had my mind blown by any of the implementations.
No, I don't think I've done anything that was oh, it's great. I'll get some energy.
But that is interesting that they announced these, they put them on sale, and we still don't have a clue what they do in the game. Because it's kind of irrelevant.
I know that people are going to buy them for just
It's kind of irrelevant at this point. Sadly.
Sadly.
What a bummer. I am still holding out for the day that we get the big high-concept
Skylanders treatment.
Amiibo. It doesn't even have to be that. Just put some effort into what is a game that we can build around Amiibo. I don't know.
Oh,
maybe
man.
I should.
I don't think it's coming, man.
So, Skylanders went the way of the dinosaurs. Disney Infinity, kaput.
Yeah.
Lego Dimensions, see you later. Because all of these things happened, and Nintendo is now going down the path of some of these other companies, are we trying to say that amiibo are walking towards extinction?
No.
No, we are not.
I absolutely do not think that's going to happen. I think that they are very viable as this like smaller part of Nintendo's business. They understand now. In 2014, we didn't understand. But in 2025, they understand what the audience is, who the audience is for these things. And it's not some kid that is going to buy a game and then mom and dad is going to be like, oh, you can get it at $12.99 amiibo along with it. That's fine. That's not terribly expensive.
Yeah.
It is a core Nintendo fan. It is like a 45-year-old collector that's going to be dropping the Benjamins on the amiibo to do nothing but put him on the shelf.
It actually is Benjamins. It literally is Benjamins.
Quite literally Benjamins. But you're lamenting this, but you've already got your eye on a few of these.
I'm not going to get them all, but I do want some of them.
There you go. And what are you going to do with them? Nothing in game. You're probably going to scan
what if I could?
To see it, but it's not.
And then it goes away.
It's not going to be. And then you don't even display. You're so dirty.
We can put it on. What?
You just put it in a.
You can put it on the set.
No, you. I'm gonna call you out right now.
Why?
You don't even display all your amiibo. You just.
I've got so many.
You just stick it in like some cardboard box and jam it
well,
into your closet.
What do you do with yours?
It's in the studio.
Great.
It's right here. These are mine.
All right. Wow. Look at you.
Calling you out.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of things that are in Nintendo's benefit, and one of them being don't compare Skylanders characters
to Nintendo characters.
But Disney.
Disney isn't.
What happened to Disney?
Yeah.
Disney's not as committed to the games business as Nintendo. No. That's all they do. I think they saw where this was going and they kind of lost the stomach for it.
They're like, no thanks. Yeah, we're not going to waste any more time and money on this.
We got a lot more things that we can do versus Nintendo. It's like we got to make this work.
That's right.
And again, they now have dialed in this business model where it's like, okay, this is exactly how many we need to make. We're very confident that we can sell this many at this price to make the money we need.
And these are the people that we know will definitely buy. It's like shooting fish in a barrel.
Yeah.
It's a sure thing for them.
Right. It's a little bit cynical at this point.
Oh,
but,
it is.
But it's something that it works for them.
But again, it's like some people really like them and they don't care how much they cost.
Right.
They just want to have it. And if you have money to buy it, no judgment.
Right.
Buy it.
Right.
No one's going to say like, what's wrong with you for buying these?
Right.
Like, it's okay. But also, if you don't want to buy them because they're so expensive or you think that they're really pricey and it's not worth it to you, then don't buy them.
You don't have to.
It's all good.
Right.
Everything is fine.
Yeah, it's true. I think at best we can all hope for some sort of a correction on some of the things, like the tariff situation. We can all hope, like, okay, that's out of Nintendo's control. Maybe one day that'll be better.
Whatever.
I don't know.
Don't hold your breath,
and
people.
then maybe things will be back. But this seems to be kind of the era of amiibo that we are in.
That's right.
Right now.
Yeah.
I do think this is still a very unique product line for Nintendo. It's not the most important thing. Like, you can literally look at their financial results and see, like, how much are we getting from accessories and all. It's a drop in the bucket, but it's still something.
It's still something. It's not nothing.
It's still meaningful for them.
Yeah.
And it is an interesting thing for us as followers, as watchers of Nintendo to keep an eye on and try and understand what's happening.
And some of them are kind of fun.
I still like them.
I do appreciate, the other thing I do appreciate is their innovation sometimes around amiibo. Like those little wooden blocks that they made for the baby toys. Those are amiibo. That's kind of fun. It's very cute. The bracelets that we got for...
How many kids do you see playing with those?
I mean, it's going to be a 45-year-old man, obviously. Maybe that person has a kid. I don't know. The other thing that was cool is like, the
Power-up bands?
The power-up bands from
that's an amiibo.
Universal.
Sure.
That's an amiibo. We have those. I mean, it's kind of fun.
We got the cereal?
The cereal box.
Bring that back.
There's a little bit of weird Nintendo like injected into the amiibo because they know they're making like limited quantities for like a very dedicated Nintendo fan.
Right.
So they can be a little zany, and that's kind of fun.
Yeah.
But yeah, my philosophy is like, buy them if you want to, don't buy them if you don't. So, save your money. If you want to save it for one or all, great. If you don't want to buy any, great.
Yeah,
no one cares.
It's definitely something where I'm watching what's happened. Sometimes I'm surprised at the offerings, but I never find myself getting upset at it. It's just like,
don't get it.
Am I going to get this or not? And then I'm kind of just moving on. you know?
Yeah, no one is forcing you to buy $50 amiibos.
Right, and nobody's going to judge you either.
And hopefully nobody's forcing you to buy $50. if they are, you need to get some help.
Yes.
Get out of that situation.
Speak to an adult, yes.
Speak to someone that can help you. Blink twice if you're being coerced into buying amiibo. But yeah, I think this is fascinating. You know, obviously it's so great to kind of be with Amiibo from the very beginning. Like, we had such an interesting relationship with Amiibo because we literally launched the original Amiibo, and to see how they've evolved, whether it's, you know, bad or good or whatever, is just an interesting evolution of like a product line and the people who are interested and passionate about it.
Yes.
So there you have it. What do you think? Are you buying Amiibo? Are you boycotting Amiibo? Are you mad? Are you happy? What's going on with you? Tell us. We're going to see you later. Bye!